Welcome to today's episode of the Simply Financial Podcast. I'm your host, Christopher Calandra, and I want to increase your financial IQ with today's episode, which is a bit of a change of pace. I wanted to bring on Victoria Barth, who is part of the team here at Elliott Wealth Management. A few words of distinction. She's the youngest member of the team. She's the newest member of the team. She's never been on the podcast. I don't think she's ever been recorded in anything like this. So I wanted to introduce her to the listeners, especially clients that might have interacted with Victoria or might do so in the future. So Victoria, thanks for taking a few minutes to chat with me today.
Thanks for having me.
So to catch everybody up, your role with Elliott Wealth Management Services is as administrative support, supporting the team, especially Lindy. Is that a fair description, you think?
Yes. I do a lot of the behind the scenes things like meeting prep and minor customer service, like answering the phones when clients call in.
Yes, you're the front line answering phones. You do some research. You help set up some PowerPoints and track down some statistics on occasion. So you do great work. Now, I mentioned that you were the youngest member of the team. You're still finishing your college degree, working with us part-time, and you're graduating in May. Is that right?
Yes.
And what will your degree be in?
I will have a bachelor in business and organizational management from the College of Central Florida.
Very impressive. You get good grades? I know the answer, by the way, but you get good grades?
Yes. My GPA actually after last semester went up just a little and it's to a 3.9.
Very impressive. Good stuff. So the first question I wanted to ask you to share a little bit with the listeners, as I said at the top, especially clients that you're working with at least behind the scenes or you might have contact with in the future. So I don't know if I should say this, but you're 21, right?
Yes.
So when you were younger, and now listeners that are like my age, 54, might be laughing at that, but when you were younger, do you have a memory, like one of the first things or something important you learned about money when you were younger? Can you share a story around that?
I know that my dad always told me to save and to save early, and that's how I would have the best retirement that I could and be well off throughout life is just by getting into a routine early in life and saving. And being here has definitely helped with that big time.
All right, that's good. So that's good advice. Uh, do you think at this point you would describe yourself as more of a saver or more of a spender? I know with my two children, Marissa's 24, Dominic's a little younger than you. He'll be 19 in a few days. You could kind of tell at an early age, Marissa, although she's disciplined with money, if she's listening to this, I'm not trying to get on your bad side, Marissa, but she's a bit more of a spender. Dominic, I think, is a bit more of a natural saver. Do you have a feeling on where you are, or maybe you wouldn't even categorize it that way? Thoughts on that?
I definitely think I would be more of a spender, but like you said with Marissa, I am disciplined with saving and I just set up recurring things out of my bank account. So there's no, that's not happening this week or anything like that. It just comes out every week and goes to a savings account or wherever I have it going to.
All right, good. That's good advice. One of one of the great books out there, in my opinion, and there are lots of them, Victoria, on personal finance, and there's lots to choose from. But your comments reminded me of The Automatic Millionaire. I think the author is Bach, B-A-C-H. We'll have to double check that. Talked a lot about building wealth, just systemizing things, setting everything on autopilot, 401k contributions, IRA contributions, college fund, emergency fund. And that is a simple, easier path as opposed to just trying to ad hoc everything. So I think that's two good pieces of information. There are many adults that have not learned or maybe even heard about that advice. So it is to your advantage that you got exposure to that at an early age. Coursework at school. What's been your favorite business class, and tell us about that.
I definitely like economics. That one is not as business as my classes that I'm in now, but
Yes.
I like the statistics and learning about the money side of things and how economics works and how the society plays such a big part in how economics does work.
So at this point, given that you're going to graduate soon, I assume you've taken both macro and microeconomics.
Yes.
All right, good. And so you're more of a numbers person, you think?
Yeah.
So do you get, and I probably should know this, right? Because, you work here at Elliott Wealth Management. I know my wife, Joelle, gets tremendous satisfaction if she's doing a spreadsheet or some type of calculation. If she could get numbers to tie together, like balance, debits and credits kind of thing, she gets tremendous satisfaction out of that, more than say I do. Would you describe yourself that way?
Yeah, definitely.
All right, I could see that. Marissa's also developed into a little bit more of that, which surprises me because I wouldn't have pegged her for that while she was in school. But now that she's in her career, I could see that more in play than I recognized before. So that's good stuff. So one of the things I wanted to talk to you about is there's book learning, classroom learning, which you've gotten exposure to, and the 3.9 GPA is pretty darn impressive. But then there's also real life learning, and the pairing of the two can be very powerful if you could take the best of both worlds. I think you've learned a lot here at Elliott Wealth Management. At least we've tried to teach you and expose you to various things to help you along in the early stages of your career. And hopefully that'll pay dividends down the line as long as you're with us. And even if and when you move on, can you talk a little bit about some of the real life things that you've learned? And let's specifically talk about what you've learned from Lindy because you've worked side by side with her since you joined us.
Yeah. Lindy has taught me a lot, even not trying to teach me things, she still does every day. She's taught me leadership skills, which I have brought over to my softball that I do. That has been very beneficial. She has also been a really big part in me learning how to save my money and where and what to do with it. And that has definitely helped a lot and given me confidence that I will be okay later on and that what I'm doing now, even if it seems small, it will be more in the end.
Yeah, foundationally, you're building a great foundation, I think. And I will say to people listening to this, she does a phenomenal job. She's young, super smart, quick learner, very poised, especially for her age, and she really does terrific work product. It's a pleasure. And so you learn leadership and you learned a variety of things, kind of foundational, small contributions to the organization, but you're learning. How about looking at it from a little bit of a different perspective? Because sometimes I've learned where I watch someone and I say, okay, I want to be like that. I like how they explain that, or I like how they carry themselves, or how they deal with stress. There are other instances where I observe something and I say, oh my goodness, that's not good. I do not want to do that. People don't react well to it, or I didn't like how that made me feel, or that's wrong. Can you think of something that you've learned where you've seen something, maybe we did, or maybe you see something that someone else does and you say, wow, I learned something of what not to do. Can you think of any examples on that? I know I'm putting you on the spot, but does anything jump to mind?
The first thing that I kind of think of is in this field specifically, I know we send out the monthly newsletters,
Yes.
and one of the questions is always, is your financial advisor taking care of you, kind of.
Okay.
Um, so the way that we have everything systemized here and we reach out to clients on different bases and things like that, I think that would be a negative for the advisors that don't reach out and don't
Okay.
do the things that they maybe should do.
Because you've come across people that may become new clients of ours that don't have regular communications with their advisors. And so it makes our communication system more impressive to you when you see how other clients are treated. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay, good. So you're graduating in May. Very exciting. Can you
Yes.
share with me and listeners something you're looking forward to after graduation? Because college has lots of great aspects to it, but it's hard. It's time consuming. You're sort of under the colleges and professors' thumb, if you will. So there's a yin and a yang to it. So I'm curious, what are you looking forward to after graduating in May?
Well, one thing, like you said, it's time consuming. So I'm looking forward to not having to go home every day and do homework. I'll have a lot
Okay.
more time to just find some hobbies to do and things like that. But also, saving toward my first home. I'm going to start saving very heavily once I go on full time and working more, making more. And I can't wait for that.
Very good. Very good. Last question as we finish up here. I usually ask this of guests. I'm always curious about it. So I know you're just starting out, so you're not making, tons of money. I know that. But what's something you like to splurge on? Like if you're going to spend money and we'll put it into the splurge category, what's something you like to splurge on?
I definitely like to travel. So, plane tickets or looking for even a deal on a cruise, they're still expensive, but I like being able to go and visit new places and travel wherever I can.
All right, that's great. A lot of listeners, including me, like to travel. It's a great country, lots to see, great world, lots to see. So that's awesome. So I know this was a first for you, being recorded, being on a podcast, doing any media. Did it go like you expected?
It did. I said a lot more times than I wanted to. But
All
I don't
right,
think I
good.
did too bad.
It's wonderful. Well, we appreciate you being part of the team. As I mentioned already, you do great work, high quality person. We're lucky to have you, and you're a great part of the team. And I personally am looking so forward to seeing how your career develops because you have an incredibly bright future. So thanks for taking some time today and getting outside your box a little bit and joining me on the show.
Thank you for having me.
So listeners, check out our website, Elliott Wealth Management Services. You can find more information about the work we do here, including Victoria's official bio, and subscribe to the podcast if you haven't done so already. I'll be back with you on the next episode of the Simply Financial podcast very soon. Thanks for listening today.
The views expressed are not necessarily the opinion of Osaic Wealth, Inc., and should not be construed directly or indirectly as an offer to buy or sell any securities mentioned herein. Investing is subject to risks, including loss of principal invested. Past performance is not a guarantee of future results. No strategy can assure a profit nor protect against loss. Please note that individual situations can vary. Therefore, the information should be relied upon when coordinated with individual professional advice. Please note, the information being provided is strictly as a courtesy. When you link to any of the websites provided here, you are leaving this website. We make no representation as to the completeness or accuracy of information provided at these websites. Nor is the company liable for any direct or indirect technical or system issues or any consequences arising out of your access to or your use of third-party technologies, websites, information, and programs made available through this website. When you access one of these websites, you are leaving our website and assume total responsibility and risk for your use of the websites you are linking to. Securities and advisory services are offered through Osaic Wealth, Inc., member FINRA, SIPC. Insurance services offered through Elliott Wealth Management Services, LLC, not affiliated with Osaic Wealth, Inc.